Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, this is Commissar here, and today I have another 1 vs 1 StarCraft 2 commentary featuring Liquid TLO and his opponent FnaticRain. And you may be wondering why I'm casting TLO yet again. The honest reason is that I haven't found a single replay pack released by anyone in the last few days. I've searched for them quite a bit, everywhere that I know to search, and yeah, I've basically come up with nothing. And as such, I'm going back to the TLO replay pack and casting something which nobody else has yet. So, today's game, TLO of course, our red Zerg in the top right hand corner of Daybreak, and his opponent is FnaticRain, not to be confused with a second Korean player called Rain, who I believe is with KommiGaming. Yeah, so this is FnaticRain, RC being the sponsor raid call, and he is our blue Terran in the bottom left hand side of the map today. So TLO, of course, as you should remember from my introductions last week, is currently in Korea, hence hasn't been in much in terms of major tournaments. His main focus at the moment is simply practicing. So practicing, of course, just means basically Korean ladder practice partners and that sort of thing. Yeah, he's getting pretty good. You can see him on ladder, you can see him doing lots of crazy builds, beating lots of top players. But of course, we can't really tell how well he'll be doing overall in terms of, say, potential tournament results in the future. We'll have to wait and see about that. But he is looking pretty good, so hopefully he will make an impact on the scene when he does return to Europe. Taking a 15 hatch now is TLO, and FnaticRain. I will explain a little bit about him, so that you don't get him confused with the other Rain, if you may be thinking about him. FnaticRain, so Rain, he was in GSL Code S way back in January 2011. And actually, in 2012, has had no success at all in any tournament. He did play in the GSTL, but I believe he lost every single game that he played in the GSTL, in 3 different sets I believe, against MVP, Sniper, and a couple of other guys. And yeah, he lost all 3 sets, didn't do particularly well. And as such, he has had little success. His last result didn't get him any prize money, and that was being a semi-finalist at the DreamHack Valencia Invitational, way back in 2011, and that was a $15,000 tournament, and he did beat Nanoa in that tournament and make the round of 4, but at the same time that was a tournament where only the winner got money, and that winner was Don Regu, who took home $15,000, which is a bit of an odd tournament format, but nonetheless Rain won nothing, and as such you'd have to say that he, well, he's not the underdog here, because TLO, of course, is a foreigner. He generally can't compete with the Koreans as Rain has had to his entire career. But, at the same time, Rain has not been in the best of form. He's obviously a good player, he has taken out tons of good players like Nanoa, obviously, but in saying that, of course, no big results. He must be a bit disappointed with his career today, you'd have to say. Anyways, so, TLO in his base, we do see his first Gas Geyser not yet up. He is just currently droning up, getting out his first couple of queens, and I'll be curious to see if he does go for a heavy queen build, as I do recall him recently going for those heavy queen builds, where literally he'd actually make, say, half a dozen queens, and you even use them in his attacks with the roaches as early as whatever it was, like the 10-15 minute mark. He'd already have queens at his opponent's base, which is a bit ridiculous, but at the same time, why not? Queens are quite sturdy units, they're quite tanky, they don't have very high DPS except for against air, but why not experiment, and why not try them out? They do have heals too. So yeah, basically TLO's idea of seeing what he can do with them was a pretty good one, because I feel like perhaps there could be potential with the queens to be dealing some decent DPS, and also the creep, a great benefit, the transfuses a great benefit, and it should allow him to safely take a 3rd base in just about any matchup. I say against Terran in this case, any sort of Banshee harass could potentially be shut down very, very easily due to a high queen count, that sort of thing. And you will notice that Terrans in this matchup love to go for Banshees these days. They just go for Banshees all the time. It's super, super common. Like, openings involving Banshees and Hellions, and maybe even only 1 or 2 Marines, are perhaps more common than the old-style Marine tank medevac style, which people used to go straight into. Not so much anymore. Nowadays it's a lot more about Banshees and maybe a little bit more of a, not necessarily a mech focus, but maybe slightly more into mech. And then Bio is also very popular. It's basically Terran have a lot of options, but Banshees are one of the more favoured options in this matchup. Meanwhile, we do see the first couple of Hellions moving out for Rain across the map. We'll have to wait and see if they do anything. They will see an absurd number of creep tumors already on the field for TLO, showing you the power of those queens. This number of creep tumors is so excessive, it's ridiculous. And already creep joins the natural and the third base before 2 early Hellions can even arrive. A very unusual situation, and a very good situation for TLO from a defensive perspective. Meanwhile, he is continuing to spread creep into the middle of the map, already reaching his 4th base basically, which isn't even down yet at the 7.5 minute mark. And yeah, it's basically a really good spot for him. And of course, queens are actually really good against Hellions, so this is going to be pretty good for TLO at this stage. Of course, the Hellions won't die or anything, they do have some sort of map control, but they can't really shut down these creep tumors for the time being. So overall, TLO's build allows for this really easily, although 2 creep tumors did get sniped there, but the queens are now going to take the watch tower for themselves, and really these Hellions aren't going to achieve much in the near future. The third base though for Rain is up. Rain did go for that very quick third base, so that's fairly normal. Again, that is quite a greedy expansion. You could say, well, at least aggressively expanding, I suppose. He is up to 4 gas guys, is now going into that starport tech. We'll have to wait and see if it is Banshees or not. He certainly is looking to go into some sort of bio-centered play. That tech lab though, it could be used on the starport. At the same time, this reactor could as well. More likely the reactor, but he could squeeze out maybe 1 Banshee before doing that. We'll have to wait and see. And he is though getting double upgrades, which is so crucial. But TLO also getting double upgrades. It's going to mean the upgrades should be fairly even. So over here you do see the Hellions poking and prodding. Over here we do see some Lings poking and prodding. And overall I believe the Lings will have more success than the Hellions will, because they've actually killed something, whereas the Hellions have just killed creep tumors so far this game. Unit Sus tab thus is fairly insignificant, but slightly doesn't favour TLO actually. Not important. Over here though we do see the 4th and 5th going down for TLO. TLO expanding very aggressively, trying to take over the map as fast as possible, and may get a couple of SCVs if he's watching, but he's not. And that could have been done better, but he does still have a lot of Lings here. They could be a potion threat, but these Hellions, while being controlled, should be able to deal with it, and as such TLO has backed off. Marines now do have their Simpack completed, medevacs are on the way. I'll have to watch out for any sort of drop plays in the near future. And importantly, the Overlord positioning of TLO, he is moving out Overlords right now, but it could be better actually. I feel like he is not watching for drops super well. He's going to be covering his main and natural as well as the bottom location over here fairly well now, but it's been pretty slow, and often players like to get more Overlords than TLO has out around the map scouting things. Of course that leaves them vulnerable to Vikings, so Vikings won't be a threat, but Vikings aren't on the field either. So anyway, we do indeed see TLO going for some sort of kills here. This bunker though is very well placed and should be able to shut this down completely, I think. Yeah, Marines are going to come in here, Hellions are going to come in as well, and basically TLO is going to be cleaned up here, having dealt practically even, yeah, literally 0 damage. So very good trade there for Rain, who is now ahead in supply, and Rain is going to make a little bit of a push here. We'll have to wait and see if he does go for the drop play or not. I believe that was a Hellion that just got killed off there. Or maybe all the Hellions? A couple of Hellions at least. We are down to 1 Hellion on the field, so yes, 3 have gone down. A good pickup for TLO before a fight does happen. It'll make these Lings a lot more effective. But I do not see any Banelings yet with this group of forces over here. And oh, a few more Lings are going down before any battle does happen. More Lings are reinforcing though. They are 1-1 versus 1-1 Marines. As such, I feel like the Marines are not going to fare too badly. But at the same time, the Lings should be able to shut down this group unless they have any sort of other support. We do indeed see the Lings coming forward here, and actually, yeah, not doing too well, but here we do indeed see a big swell of Lings, and they might get a few kills off here. The medevac will probably lift off 8 of those guys, but no! Ling is going to run past, take a bit of damage, and see what they can do. But even more Marines over here, and these Lings are a bit trapped here. A lot of them are dying, and TLO trading very inefficiently. He does get us around here. We'll kill off a group of these Marines, but at the same time, so inefficient for TLO. He's not behind on food yet, because he's gone so Ling heavy, such cheap units. He is getting his hive, which he desperately needs, but right now Lings are not good enough, and so is this drop. It's going to hurt TLO quite a lot. Going to not get the Queen actually, but in total we are going to see a total of 2 drones being killed off in this game by Rain so far. That drop, of course, not being very effective. Almost achieved something in getting that Queen, but in the end, of course, did not. Meanwhile, in the base of TLO, we do have that infestation pit. I'll have to wait and see if any infestors are produced at all, or if the hive is just there for, say, ultras or whatever. But meanwhile, Lings, again, no Banelings though, against this pure marine force, and I feel like some Banelings would have been so good for TLO, because the tanks have been so delayed, they're only literally just starting to come out now. As such, TLO's Lings really could have been, if they were Banelings, sorry, could have done a lot of damage. Lings continuing to dance back and forth here, but the unit start stab should be ridiculous, yeah it is. And you'll see, it's kind of absurd, the number of resources, the number of minerals TLO's throwing at his opponent, but you'd have to figure that surely to be doing this repeatedly, he's just surely just going, trying to buy time, trying to get Hive as quick as possible, and do whatever damage he can on the way there. He is now getting Adrenal Glands and 3/3/4 Lings, trying to go so heavy into the Lings, I don't quite understand why he's not getting, say, Broodlords or something yet, or even Mutas out. I don't know, but meanwhile we do indeed see more and more engagements across the map with these Zerglings, and at the same time, yeah, the drop play has been fairly minimal, I believe, from TLO. Sorry, from Rain, yeah, who's still only killed 2 workers in this entire game. Over here we do see a big push forward of Marines and a couple of tanks. They are going to siege up here before an engagement does happen, and that would be scary for Banelings, but Lings not so much. The Marines, though, pretty good against those Lings, and yep, they are going to be scared back for the time being. There is going to be a surround over here, though, of a nice flanking maneuver from TLO, going to try to get this tank, but will not get it straight away at least. And oh, more and more Lings, despite the surrounds and whatnot, being thrown into a meat grinder here. And TLO is still down in supply, still streaming nothing forth but Lings. He is going to get a free tank over here with this group of Lings trying to cut off reinforcements very intelligently. But other than that, TLO doesn't seem to be achieving a great deal in this game, other than creep spread. Meanwhile, over here we do indeed see just more and more Lings streaming in. That is about it. So many Lings, though, it looks like they will be able to clean up eventually, and they are going to do so. You're also going to see the tanks on the high ground are being killed up as well. Over here, a few more Marines are going to be scared off. And finally, our TLO is going to stabilize a bit here. The Adrenal Glands upgrade is done, that crackling upgrade. And as such, the Lings are perhaps being a bit more efficient. Going to get a couple of tanks here, actually. Or at least one of them. The pickup being very effective. And I feel like Rain could perhaps have been a little bit better with that pickup micro a bit earlier on. But nonetheless, still doing a decent job at staying on good terms with the TLO. TLO, though, does have his Hive Tech done, and hopefully for his sake he'll do something with it, as this mass Ling is just really odd, and I'm really surprised that TLO has actually been able to do this for so long uncontested. I feel like maybe Blue Flame Hellions would have been a good option for Rain, but Rain trying to take the 4th base here, it'll go down actually, not even cancelled. Oh, a big blunder there from Rain, is going to try and rebuild it straight away. We'll have to wait and see how long that does last. But this Ling build is doing stupidly well considering that it's just Lings. I'm really surprised by this, especially with no Banelings or anything or Mutas. Ultra Cavern is now on the way as a drop comes in at the 4th base here, doing a lot of damage here. TLO not pulling his workers off very quickly here, is going to lose a total of 6 extra workers. The Queen not going to go down, but the pickup should indeed happen in just a moment here. And oh my god, these Lings are suddenly really good against Marines. That DPS is absurdly high. Meanwhile, over here we do see another drop going down, but Lings are already in position to deal with it. They are fully upgraded Lings though, and they should be okay here. It's some nice micro there from Rain though, and there is the cost efficiency of the Marines kicking in. They are almost 3-3 now, they do have that 3 attack upgrades, and yep, pretty good. But over here we do see another big engager, and here we do see unsieged tanks being hit, but at the same time the Marines and Marauders are enough to clear out the Lings for the time being. Rain continuing to push forward here, TLO again down in supply. Over here the drop has been cleaned up, the 5th base is in a lot of trouble over here. Meanwhile the main was being dropped, I believe, although these medevacs are now empty. So down over here we do indeed see the hatchery going down. Over here a counterattack is being attempted by TLO onto the 3rd base of Rain. The 4th base still having been denied by TLO quite well in this game. But in saying that, TLO low on bases himself at this stage, income tab does show him being a bit behind despite his 1 base lead. And at this point, if this base goes down, or if this 3rd base goes down, he'll be in a lot of trouble indeed. A big flank though from all directions, Lings streaming in, and ultras from all sides, and they should be able to clean this up here. The tanks are dropping down, the ultras trying to get something done, but there's an ultra over here idle. Will that cost TLO this cleanup? It looks like TLO will not clean up regardless. He is going to get this tank with this Queen, I believe, is going to clean up, but a few drones did go down. And meanwhile though, we do see so many more Marines pouring in, going to get that crucial mining base, and they will not even be cleaned up due to some good micro. And there is the GG out of TLO. And what a bizarre game from TLO all around. I just don't understand at all why that was happening. I mean, he didn't lose any tech in the main. Workers lost all game. Wasn't that high considering drones were engaging in that last battle, so really harass was kept to a minimum. But TLO just, I suppose he's experimenting quite heavily. There's no other explanation for it than experimentation, which is kind of cool. But at the same time, just pure Ling for so long, that requires almost perfect injects. That queen's at full energy, so apparently the injects weren't quite perfect from that queen. And in general, these queens are actually on very high energy, so that surprises me. But yeah, you basically, to sustain that, you need perfect injects, and I don't even know what, a bunch of luck, I'd assume, as no banelings against so many marines seems unnecessary. It just seems unnecessarily silly. No mutas at all, despite the fast hive, we didn't see any broodlords or anything, and the ultras were a bit slow. And in general, without fungal growths, ultras aren't necessarily that good at cleaning up units because they can generally be microed away and into medevacs and whatnot. And maybe queens could deal with the medevacs, but wow, it's just weird from TLO. It's a little bit puzzling. The creep spread though was pretty cool. It did go across the whole map, so TLO quite good at his creep spread. Other than that though, I feel like this game was a little bit of a build order experiment and a failed experiment at that. And as such, TLO has bowed out of this game. Okay, so I do hope you enjoyed that game. It was really bizarre. Please do tell me if you can find any replay packs or anything of any pros. If it's not like Team Liquid, then I might not find it straight away, so it'll be good if you tell me. Other than that, please subscribe if you like my commentary. Please tell me what you'd like to see more of, how you'd like me to try and change my commentary, any feedback, that sort of thing. But other than that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on another day.